Hey, what is going on guys? It is Young here, and today I'm back in our Fortnite video, and in today's video I'm going to be teaching you guys how to kill better players in Fortnite and just some tips and tricks to help you guys out to win more games and just to win more gunfights against those better players. And before we get into the video, I have a V-Buck giveaway. If you guys want a chance to win some free V-Bucks, all you need to do is to drop a like on this video, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on my notifications, and leave a comment down below of your Xbox gamer tag, your PSN gamer tag, or Epic account. And as well, if you guys don't already, make sure you guys have me added and supported as a creator. It's super simple to do. All you need to do is go to the item shop, then just tap X and hit support a creator, and then type in my code. It's the same as my gamer tag. Just type in Young Humor and you will have me added and supported as a creator. And alright guys, let's get right to the video. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about how to kill better players in Fortnite, and that could be really anyone from even like 500 wins up to even 2,000 wins, just anyone who just looks like a better player in Fortnite. And you kind of just know that when you're going into the gunfight, because you can kind of see how the player is moving, if they look like they're building a lot, or maybe they just came off a build fight, so you know they're going to be building a lot and they're going to be the better players. But I do have a few really good tips when it comes to fighting better players in Fortnite, and just some different ways to outplay them that are really effective, and something that I do every single game. Because of course you want to handle a situation different if you're fighting a newbier player, or if you're fighting a really good player. There's a few things that you want to do, and I would say the first off, for me personally, I like to run the Deagle. And this really isn't much of a tip, it's just kind of a personal preference, because when you're going up against better players, they're going to be a lot more faster, they're going to be very quick, and they're going to be able to get a lot of shots off very quickly on you. So the reason why I use the Deagle a lot in my games is because I can one-shot wooden walls instantly, and even against a really good player, if I can get their wall instantly, they might not have any time to react. I can go for a wall replace, I can go inside of their box, get off a shot. So the Deagle is honestly one of those really good things to get those kind of players, because catching a good player off guard could be pretty difficult, and if you have a Deagle, it can make it a whole lot easier and just allow for a lot of easy shots. So that's why I use the Deagle personally, and for a few other reasons as well, because I really think I can get a lot of tags with it, and as well I'm very accurate. But I would say that's one of my #1 things to do, is just use the Deagle against those better players, because most of the time I'm going to be able to pick them off, or at least be able to get a shot or two off of them, just because unless they're just sitting there holding down turbo build, you're at least going to be able to make a play, whether that can get off a pump shot, or even just get a wall replace on them and then go for an edit play on them. And probably one of the best tips, honestly one of the best tips I can give you guys when it comes to fighting those better players. And I really just feel like a lot of players in Fortnite really aren't taking advantage too much of those extra weapons. And what I mean by that could be smokes, that could be dynamite, grenades, really just anything that can destroy structures very quickly and can be very unpredictable. And you're going to see most of these items in the early game. And one really good tip I can give you guys when it comes to, using those weapons in the early game is a lot of the times, if you already have 150 HP and you have bandages and you're about to go into a gunfight, honestly for me, I don't even carry the bandages. What I would do instead is I drop the bandages and I pick up dynamite, I pick up smokes, because a lot of the time, if I can just pick off the player a lot quicker, I honestly don't even have to worry about getting tagged or worry about healing. Just because if you're going into the gunfight, you want to have every single advantage possible, and definitely having smoke grenades or dynamite is going to be a huge advantage, because say you get a few tags on them, they're low 25 HP or less, and then they decide to run away. If you have something like dynamite or smoke grenades or just anything to make them move, you're going to be put at a huge advantage, because you're going to have that jump on them every single time. But instead, if you had your bandages out, yeah, you would be able to heal if you got shot, but at the same time, it's not going to be as effective as just getting them out of their box. And really just honestly, if you ever needed to get heals, say it goes really bad and they get a lot of tags on you, and I'm not saying this for every single time, but for the majority of the times I'm able to get away and at least grab the bandages and find somewhere to heal, so it really isn't that big of a deal. And of course sometimes you could get really screwed over and then eventually have to fight the player on 25 HP, but if you even have smoke grenades or dynamite and you get low, you can even use those just to throw at them, get them to move, and then eventually go get your heals from that. And that's just really a tip for the early game. I really don't think these items are used enough in that late game. You really only see the majority of these items, I would say in the early game, because that's when everybody finds them and they decide why not use them. Because if people are just getting dynamite out of chests, they're just chucking it across tilted towers, blowing up every single building, every single structure that they can. But in the late game, you really don't see too many of those weapons. You're going to see a lot more, just scars, RPGs, weapons like that. And RPG is really, really good. But honestly, the dynamite could do a lot more damage and free up a lot more space than an RPG could ever do. But of all the weapons that I talked about, I gotta say the most used weapon, or the weapon that I like best, is honestly the smoke grenades, or some people call them the stink grenades, whatever you guys want to call it. I just call it smokes because that's just what I'm used to. But that grenade is one of my favorites to use, just because it gets people to move, and they have to move every single time, because I think it does about 5 damage a second. So unless they're going to be moving from that situation, they're going to get absolutely hammered again and again. And really my favorite way to use it is after I already have them kind of low. So most of the time that's what people are going to do. A lot of people play really aggressive until you get a few tags on them. And as soon as you tag them up a little bit, they're going to go into a box, try to get some heals off or whatever. But if you have smoke grenades and you just chuck a smoke grenade and then they have to move, it's going to get really annoying for them, and it's going to give you a wide open shot. Because like I said, if you throw a smoke grenade at someone, and especially if they're low, it's going to make it for a really easy kill, because once you throw that smoke grenade, they're going to have to move every single time. If not, they're going to die to the smoke grenade. And I've even had a lot of kills with the smokes. I just had some guy who was completely one shot. I saw them boxed up trying to go for a heal, and I just chucked one smoke at him. Because most of the time when you chuck at least one smoke and they're already boxed in, most players, you're going to get at least 20 to 25 damage off on them before they move. And it really isn't that effective to throw multiple smokes. The best way to use them is honestly, so they would box in, you throw one smoke, it does like 20 or 30 damage. And then of course they're going to try to get off in even more heals, so they're going to go to a different box. And as soon as I go through a different box, I'm going to chuck another smoke grenade. It's probably one of the most annoying things ever, because they're trying to get off with all their heals, they're boxed up, and I'm just throwing a smoke at it. Then they switch, I throw another smoke and switch, and I throw another smoke, and it's just eating at their HP. And then eventually when I go to challenge, I'll have the deagle, I just deagle their wall, and then it leads for a very easy kill, because I don't have any HP left over, just because I threw so many smokes at them. And one thing that I've talked about in a previous video, I'm not sure how many videos it was ago, but one thing that I really started to use a lot is the redeploy gliders. And this is something that you have to be very careful of, because when it comes to the gliders, if you're not careful, if you use it too early, you're going to get absolutely destroyed. And this is one of the reasons why I don't use it too much in a pop-up cup, because people like there are very accurate, and if you're in the air for too long or any kind of slowness in the air, you're gonna get beamed out of the air every single time. I mean, I've had so many times where I've had 150 HP and I'm just trying to get out of the air, I'm not really trying to stay in it, and I would lose all of my HP, get down to 20, or maybe even die mid-fall. So when you're using the redeploy gliders, you definitely have to be careful that you're not gliding too slow or just being too exposed while you're gliding down. And the main reason why I would want to use it, because when you're going against those better players, they're going to be constantly building up and up. But honestly, if you have gliders, you don't have to worry about any sort of fall damage. And because if you're just building up and you have redeploy gliders, most of the time they're not going to be having one. So honestly, you can even be building up and you have your teammate knock the entire structure down, and then you pull out your redeploy gliders. And when I pull out my redeploy gliders, one thing that I do is I wait till I get as low as I possibly can, or I wait till I at least drop halfway or maybe even 3/4 of the way down before I pull out my gliders. Because like I said before, if you pull them out too early, a lot of times it's gonna allow the other players to get a lot of really easy shots on you. Because if you're coming down slowly, because that's the only downfall with the redeploy gliders, is that sometimes you can come down really slowly, and if you come down too slow, then you're gonna get beamed out of the air. So if you get knocked down or shot out, if you just at least be a little bit patient and let yourself drop down halfway before I pull out the gliders, most of the time they're not going to be able to get any sort of shots on you or do any sort of damage. So really, when it comes to fighting those better players, you just want to try to give yourself any sort of advantage that you can, and that really is the key. And it doesn't even have to be smokes or dynamite, it really could be anything when it comes to HP. If you know they're lower on HP, then of course you want to push them as soon as you can, especially if you know they're better players. You want to try to get off those shots as fast as possible if you know they're low, or just trying to have any sort of advantage that you can. And I really think the easiest way, to be honest with you, is just to have smoke grenades or dynamite. But like I said, there is other ways that you can have it. But just having those kind of items really is going to set you up for a huge advantage, especially in that late game, because most of the people just use it in the early game, but having it in your inventory in the late game could also be very useful. And also the redeploys are very helpful for just overbuilding and then let your teammate shoot from below, or even if you're in solos, just preventing yourself from getting shot out from third parties. Just very, very useful. And with that being said, that is a wrap up for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys liked it. And if you guys could, drop a like on this video. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on my notifications so you're notified for every single new video. And alright guys, I'll see you next video.